As you'll see here, you'll see a bit of footage of me in Culhana yesterday morning. I was up to see what sort of trappings they would have for that PJ Carragher, the godfather in South Armagh for quite a while, maybe even more so the godfather in Slab Murphy. I'd been in touch with the police for them to make sure that there was no show of strength and that these people didn't take control of the area as they like to think they have. Now, whenever I went to Culhana that morning, the boys were already out on the roads with the bibs. These people actually think they are the police, and if you could have seen who was there. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't stay too long. They weren't that keen on having me about. I don't know why, but I don't mind going to funerals like that. As far as I'm concerned, there's not enough of them. But anyway, that's another issue. That man was an evil, evil man. What he had been involved with down through the years, it's just the Tully Vallons and all that there. That was the godfather that'd give the go ahead for the like of them things. Not that I would want to see anybody going to hell, but he's there. There's not much anybody can do about it now. But I suppose he's met up with his son. The army shot. He was another terrorist. But anyway, we did that to send a message, irrespective of who they are or what they are. There's people out there still prepared to see the law upheld, and they do not and will not be allowed to take full control of these areas. That if they're going to break the law, somebody will raise the issue. Somebody will try and make sure that they're held accountable. But I know the other thing I want to go on to is it any wonder we're getting the hassle that we're getting as a victims group? I see Peter Ralston said this morning that you can't push Sinn Féin too far. Well, that's probably our problem. And as a lot of you know, the only ones pushing Sinn Féin is the innocent victims, and especially the innocent victims in Fair and the like of myself. We are the only people who are pushing Sinn Féin. You tell me anybody else who's doing it. And for Peter to say that you can't push them too far would explain a lot of what's going on. Because that's the only way you can read that. If you want to bring Sinn Féin along, you have to give them something. And at the minute, it's the innocent victims that they're trying to give to them. Well, we're not going to stand for it. We're asking for equality and justice. And that's what we intend to get. It's another total disgrace that we have to argue with our own representatives to try and achieve that. I done a presentation in Newry Mourne Council on Monday, referenced the Kingsmill massacre, and there was a number of Sinn Féin representatives there, and indeed a lot of them never lifted their head because they knew that some of the things I was talking about related to some of the things they might have done themselves. And I can assure you, I did not miss and hit the wall. But I got something out of it. Some people may say, oh, it's a bit cynical. The fact is, we still got it. And that is them supporting an inquiry into the actions of the organisation that they were involved with. The actions of what some of them may have done themselves, or indeed some of their family members were involved in. And that's the Kingsmill massacre. We know every one of them. Every one of them that was involved in it, and what role they played. And before we're finished, somebody will be held accountable. If it's only getting them to the court to name them and shame them, well, so be it. But I can tell you this, with greatest respect, Peter, we'll not only be pushing Sinn Féin, we'll be dragging them by the neck, because they tortured and butchered our community and have walked away scot-free for it. One of the other things that took place, a matter of fact, I was contacted by a family from that area. Giving this terrorist £75,000 in compensation while he was out trying to murder men and women from the community. He was a murderer, a terrorist. And not that far away from where that took place, 3 innocent men were shot at a garage while they were doing a day's work. Another brother of that individual was in the garage and was lying on the floor and the rounds bouncing around him. Between the 4 of them, they never got £75,000. They got buttons. And this tramp gets £75,000 of British taxpayers' money. The thing's mad. There's bombs going off regular here in Northern Ireland. But what happens now if some of these boys is injured? Are they going to get paid as well? It seems to be, if they can't give them money through the prisoner organisations, they'll give it to them through the courts. And people will say, oh, it's loopholes in the law. Well, how's come nobody has found a loophole when it comes to the innocent victims in the law? How's come nobody has got a loophole in the law to help the innocent victims take a case against these individuals? And we're seriously looking at this situation because some of the families around there, some of them guns that was used, killed the individuals around there. And we're seriously looking at a situation. Can the family hold them accountable? Can the family hold this individual accountable and sue him for the murder or the injury of their loved one, whatever it may be? Is there a loophole in the law that says that you can do what's right? Because that should be the situation. This money has to be taken off this man. And where's our politicians? Where are they? And what are they doing about it? We hear them on talking about the Pat Finucane decision. The Prime Minister was quite right in what he did. Pat Finucane himself was a well-known IRA man who Sean O'Callaghan, who was head of the IRA in the south of Ireland, stated that it was Pat Finucane who turned the finances of the killing machine of the IRA around. They were broke and he helped to turn that round. And now they want to spend millions to find out who shot him. What about the rest of the people? What about the King's Mills people? What about the Shankill Road people who went in and set a bomb on the counter of a fish shop? What about an inquiry for them? Pat Finucane played with fire and he got burnt. You know, we're going through what we're going through because we're not rolling with the system. And it's unfortunate because we want to move on. But we can only move at a pace that's right. That's right for the innocent victims. It's not right, not one that's right for the gunmen and their loved ones, but one that's right for the innocent victims. And at last I've seen a bit of sense. The Prime Minister seems to have a bit of backbone when he stood up and said no, there'll be no inquiry here. He was quite right.